Alex Howard, and this is just a short video in response to a question that someone sent in, which is, to put it in the simplest terms, why do I keep crashing? And this person's got a kind of a recurring pattern, let's say, that they think they're doing better and they're doing fine, and then it's seemingly out of nowhere they find that they have a crash. Now, obviously, this is a very complicated question in the sense that there are many, many different reasons why this might be the case. But what I wanted to do was give a couple of orientations, just a couple of directions of things to have a look at. This is not going to be comprehensive, but it hopefully just gives a few things to reflect on. So the first thing is that if there is a recurrent pattern of crashing, there has to be a physiological reason why that's happening. That it's not, people, of course, we talk a lot about the role of psychology in the mind, and that can have a big impact in ME chronic fatigue. But you don't think your way into a crash. It's not that you worry you're going to crash and just suddenly you crash, and there's no physical underpinning of why that's happening. So I would really encourage doing some kind of further physical investigation, be that from a more functional medicine approach, like we use here at the Optimum Health Clinic, or indeed a more traditional medical approach. But there has to be some reason, some clues as to why that might be, some of the things that often we notice can be factors. Looking at mitochondrial function, so cellular energy production. Often what can happen is that we can find that we're fine on the day we do something more, we're fine the day after, and then we have a crash. Understanding that process. Looking at things like adrenal function can be really important, that it's like suddenly our reserves run out and we just kind of have a crash. There's many other things that you could look at. But I always encourage people, we want to have the test data, the physical kind of test results that can explain the biological processes that are happening, because that can help target treatment. And people can just get so used to the fact they keep crashing and it keeps happening. But I really feel strongly we want to understand why. Why is that happening? So that's the kind of more kind of physical kind of piece, just to encourage the kind of investigation on that side. Second side is that one of the things that often can also have a big impact on that is we haven't got our pacing and our activity levels right. And I know that pacing in ME chronic fatigue is like such a loaded term, and I know that people have often got great frustrations at this. And I think there's a lot of misinformation that's out there as well. I think on both sides, I think there can be misinformation on getting too anal, for want of a better word, about kind of controlling and measuring everything that we're doing, which can be helpful to break boom and bust, but actually can cause a whole new set of kind of anxieties. Or some of the approaches that say, if you feel like doing something, do it, and just kind of throwing things out the window. We take a more measured and more moderate approach, let's say. But getting your baseline, getting an established solid baseline, and gradually increasing that in a way where you don't do it too quickly and you actually listen to your body in the process is just unbelievably important. And learning to listen to your body can sometimes be like literally learning a whole new language. And that's something that certainly the psychology team can help you with in terms of developing that kind of sense of knowing, establishing that baseline, and then gradually building up from there. But understanding that that is an absolute, it is the foundation, let's say, that every sustainable recovery path is built from a solid foundation. So if you're up and down the whole time and your energy is kind of all over the place, we definitely need to even that out. And that sometimes often means doing less than you do on your good days to get the kind of baseline, but it'll mean you end up doing more than you would be used to doing on your bad days because you won't have the crashes. Every crash is often caused by a peak that comes before. So we want to kind of balance that out to establish the baseline so you can start to bounce the boundaries and start to build up. So I know that crashes is like one of the most frustrating parts of the recovery path, and there's lots of other resources that we've put out at various points about that. But just to summarise these 2 points, we want to understand why on a physical level it's happening, but also on a more kind of psychology level, that pacing and building a baseline, often we need help to get that in place, is super important.